Yeah, this is Chris Brown speaking, who works in the Novato-Hamilton Safeway, and concerning the changes with the Golden Gate Transit buses, 101, Route 101, that goes from Santa Rosa to Novato, and that route is about to be eliminated without considering the fact. And what they need to do is they need to go over all the other stuff before doing this, including making sure the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and J's are dotted. And this is also to be on board with making sure that the SMART train is running earlier, like at 4:12 a.m. On the weekends as well as on the weekdays, because it will not work that way. And also to make sure that the 5:16 train is still running as well on all that, so that everything else will be covered and the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed and the J's are dotted. And this is to ensure that people that live in Petaluma, Rohnert Park, and Santa Rosa are able to do this without having to rearrange their work schedules and rearrange everything, because I don't think this has been thought through very well, and they need to negotiate something before it creates problems. And this problem had happened when the Greyhound was practically almost discontinued and practically put out of circulation and out of business almost. And this took place in 1982 and 1984. And what we need to do is we need to think about those situations and making sure that people are able to get to their appointments, get to their jobs, and be able to do that without paying a hefty bill to the Uber or the Lyft, because Uber and Lyft are very expensive. If you have to travel to God knows where, you'd practically have to have a really, really high-paying job to get there and other stuff. And even the people with a high-paying job do not want to fork out that type of money and everything else for this type of to get to work in the mornings and other things, or to get to a doctor's appointment, or to go to a job interview, or to do any of these type of things, because it can also cause scheduling issues, problems, and so forth across the board. And it can also cause a bankload of lifetime issues and everything else that people have to deal with in their everyday lives. And this is part of infrastructure and being able to make those decisions based on infrastructure instead of based on economic whatever, or greed, or whatever is considered. And you have to be able to give or take on this manner of speaking, but it's a give and a take, and it's a given that nobody in their right mind would just do this and expect it to be an easy situation or an easy transition. But also, you have to make sure that there has to be a bridge between there, and to make sure that things are not just done willy-nilly or wackadoodle. And this is very, very important. It's very important to every person. It's very important to the people within the San Francisco Bay Area, the Marin area, and the Sonoma County area. Because if the Sonoma County area is cut off from certain things, then we're in bigger trouble than we know what to do with. Because that happened with Greyhound in the past, which I mentioned. And hopefully this video gets out to those who are involved in this, because what we need to do is we need to go into a conference room or sit down and have and to start negotiating. Because if we don't, then who will? And this is the reason why I am also posting this to YouTube at this point, and make sure that some of this is as well as social media and wherever I could get this out as quickly as possible, so that people can base on these comments to make sure that we can get our voices out and be able to have a real strong discussion about this, and to make sure that everybody is able to do something and not have problems and issues in the not so distant future and past April the 12th and April the 13th of this year. And we need to go back to the drawing board on all of this and make sure that everything is covered before we implement any sort of plans or whatever, and to make sure that so much is covered on this, and to have all our bases covered and everything covered both ways with SMART and both ways with Golden Gate Transit, or vice versa. And what really was the problem was that we kept limitizing and putting limits on all of this stuff, including Greyhound. This happened back in the 1950s, especially in 1954, when they built the buses, but they were not quality buses at the time. And it caused a lot of problems in the not so distant future. By 1962 and 1963. That was a little bit before I was born, but according to one story. But and it isn't just building the buses and building the trains, it's making sure that people can get from here to there without it being a big old fat federal case, or a big rigmarole, or whatever it's going to turn into. But I think what we need to do is, before this explosion becomes any further, is we need to figure out a game plan and a plan of action before we wind up going off halfway or halfway on this. And it is what I'm suggesting here is we need to take a big long look and start figuring out where, who, what, where, and when, and making sure that things are just covered on all bases throughout, and not, because greed and other things is real bad on infrastructure. It can really throw a jack wrench in there, or a monkey wrench in there, and people had lived everyday lives, but some areas are impacted by that. They're impacted, their economies and everything else is impacted on it. The and it also causes a lot of problems. It also causes problems with my people and everything else, and a whole bunch of other people it's causing problems with, including that. And this is why I'm speaking out about this before we go complete on this. And I hope that everyone writes in the comments about this, and also contacts Golden Gate Transit and Smart Train and all the other transit agencies that there are, so that we can go back to the drawing board and try to figure out where this is heading.